Hey guys, and welcome to Tweet Talk, episode 6, 6 weeks in.
Yeah.
Sweet. We're back in the Group Fitness Training Centre here, so you're going to hear trucks go by. There's just no doubt about it. Every time we sit down, that's what happens. Look, today what we wanted to do is tackle the subject of supplements. In the fitness industry, supplements are really big. I think it's a bit of a niche thing that, I don't know, maybe it's a little bit cool, maybe it's a little bit sexy, maybe it's a little bit glamorous to walk into the gym with your shaker with some sort of coloured something in it. Hey, and there's always the latest fat burner or, topical, turn your bum into a peach in fucking 24 hours with this thing you rub on your bum type thing. Hey, there's heaps of that sort of stuff
There's lots of shit.
Yeah, there's heaps of that stuff in the supplement industry, and I think it's not unlike the fitness industry. It's very heavily deregulated, unregulated, not regulated well, whatever the words are. So we thought we'd try and sort of touch on all of that, bring that to your awareness today, and just walk you through how we see supplements, how we use supplements, and then how we recommend supplements.
Yeah, so we're just pretty much going to sort of skim the surface of it. That we could talk about this for days.
Yeah.
But yeah, we're going to sort of give you a basic idea around different supplements and what they do. And
yep.
Yeah.
100%. We're not going to screw into anyone specifically, or dig into anyone sort of specifically. Perhaps we can look at doing that in Tweet Talks to come. Hey, picking something like whatever glutamine or a protein supplement that we can dig into a little closer. But today is going to be an overview of the supplements that we sort of see on a regular basis, and also our sort of approach to them. So the first question, are supplements essential?
That's a really tough question for me.
Yeah, I knew you were going to say, I thought you'd just come straight out and say, yes, supplements are essential.
I think, like with the world that we live in today, we just don't get what we require out of our diet anymore. It's literally impossible.
Yep.
The way we farm, the way we process and package foods these days, it's just
different to how it was 100 years ago.
100%, 100%. So, and the way that we're made these days, like a lot of us have certain, genetic mutations and certain conditions that we're born with, and
different exposures.
Exactly, exposure to different chemicals on a daily basis, and the way that we absorb and process food on a daily basis is actually very different from one person to the next. So, sorry, we're running out of batteries here.
High-tech work here.
Oh God, yeah.
This side for me.
Oh, I don't think
Cool.
that's going to reach.
That's going to reach. Cool. Yeah, 100%. So I think what maybe the better question is do you want to optimize do you want to live a life that's optimal and optimize your health as much as you possibly can? If the answer is no to that, which is an odd thing to answer no to, or more likely you've never actually thought of optimizing your health through supplements, which is what I think most people would fall into the category of, then you don't need to have supplements. You don't need to use supplements. But if you're, I suppose, coming from a position of optimal health, which is what we're trying to do, we have really specific goals around health, we have really specific goals around longevity and how we like to live our life, then for us, supplements are essential, and that's what we do on a daily basis to optimize health. Is that cool? So I think, I think it's a little bit, it sounds like a little bit loaded, hey, because if you ask someone if they want to optimize their health, I don't know how many people would say, no, I don't want to be optimally healthy.
Yeah.
But if you ask people if supplements are essential, they would tell you no, because I get that out of my food.
Which is totally fine, but if you're not eating a really balanced diet that is abundant in nutrient-rich foods, which most of us don't, then you're not going to be getting those essential nutrients that you require. So
100%. And if you are, the chances are you're still not getting all supplements anyway. All nutrients anyway, just because of the way we now farm and produce foods.
Exactly.
I think what you have to look at in terms of optimal health is that 60% of Australians are still overweight or obese.
Yeah.
so that says to me that 60% of Australians probably don't eat the way they should. At the very least, they don't move the way they should. But I would hazard a guess that they're not eating the way they should either.
No.
So that suggests to me that we're not getting the most out of our food, and that supplementation is important.
Yeah. 100%.
Cool. Okay. So basically, we touched on a balanced diet is probably not enough because we can't guarantee the things that we're getting out of our nutrition are actually there anymore.
Yeah.
You know, the vitamins and minerals and metals and things that we used to pull from the ground tend not to be there, and that's why we start to look at and consider adding them into our day through a supplement regime.
Yeah, exactly. Like farming practices is a really big one. Obviously, farming practices because, you know, whole foods come from a farm, and, you know, things such as even grains are farmed completely differently these days, and the aim of the game is to obviously have more yield in crops rather than keeping all the nutrients in the crops. So things are genetically modified, and, you know, that means a lot of vital nutrients being taken out, certain synthetics being put in. Like, it really does change things.
Even the way farming is done. So the term monocropping means one crop. So, you know, you could drive and see, we live in somewhere that grows sugarcane. So you see fields and fields and fields and fields of sugarcane. Whereas if you were living from your garden and you wanted to grow sugar, just say, maybe you'd have 3 stalks of sugarcane, and that would be next to a tomato bush, and that would be next to a lettuce tree, and that would be right under the avocado tree, and then there would be an orange tree. So we had all these things we had like an ecosystem there, which some plants take nutrients out of the ground, other plants put nutrients into the ground, and we have this sort of culture. But when we have that sort of monocrop environment, then I think it's really quite easy to lose a number of those things, and then they have to be added back in either synthetically or not at all.
Yeah, and that's one tiny small tip of the iceberg when it comes to that sort of stuff, you know. Like, I'm studying a herbal medicine subject at the moment, and we're learning about what herbs have to grow with other herbs in order to get the best nutrients and healing constituents out of that herb. So it's really interesting. Really, really interesting.
100%. So then you take something that's, I suppose, growing naturally, kinda, and then you put it into a situation where it's only growing in 400 acres of that particular plant or that particular fruit or vegetable or whatever it is. Then there's only so natural you can get, because it's just you don't have 400 acres of strawberries in the wild.
That's right.
Hey, that's not a thing. So there's only sort of so much we can get from that thing, and that's the way the world is now. So even if you get the highest quality organic vegetables you can, the chances are they're growing like that. Hey.
Yes and no. Yeah.
Well, they're monocropped. Hey.
To a certain degree, yeah.
Well, do they grow strawberries not monocropped?
Well, like, to be an organic farmer, there is really huge things, like rules that you have to follow. And I think you're only allowed to grow like so many in one space. So, but organic farming still wouldn't be the way, like, farmed, like you said before. You would not get the nutrients in a homegrown strawberry that's been nurtured and put in the right place and blah 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 than what you would from an organic farm. So it's a very controversial subject, and we don't, we're not farmers, so I know there might be a few of you that are from farming backgrounds and being like, no, we don't mean it like that. It's just like a general.
I think it's safe to say, though. I think it's not.
It's something that we should all know. Like, it's something that we all deserve to know, and something that we should be mindful of when we are grocery shopping and stuff. So
So what I was getting at is, even if you try and pick the healthiest possible way of manufacturing your food, growing your food, the best quality organics, the combination of the foods that you put together that end up on your plate are still going to be nutrient deficient in some way, shape, or form because of the practices that have led us to that point.
Exactly.
So that's when supplementation needs to be considered and looked at for optimising our health. So when we talk about supplementation, it's always that. It's supplementation of a healthy diet. We will never recommend, if you have a crappy diet out there, you're eating the average Australian diet, okay, the average Australian diet, now think of the average Australian, 60% of Australians are overweight or obese, so the majority of Australians are overweight or obese. So if we talk about the average Australian diet, it's generally poor because it's leading us to a position of obesity as a population. If you're eating the general Australian diet, we wouldn't recommend that you go and grab yourself a host of supplements to improve your health. Because that's, I think we spoke about this last week, that's running before you walk. Or running before you crawl.
Yeah, and that's in a general context too. Obviously, if you're seeing a practitioner for a certain health issue, you will need a supplement to help with the healing of that issue. But this is just in general, you know.
I would push back on that. I think if you're seeing a practitioner and you're eating shit,
100%. Like you'll be told that you need to eat better. But in the same sense, there are supplements out there that help, you know, heal certain conditions. You will be told to have a balanced diet in conjunction with that supplement. But
I think it depends on the practitioner. So many people don't hear that.
Yeah.
So many people hear say, here's a prescription, take this, it'll fix you.
But I'm not talking about a prescription, I'm talking about a supplement.
Yeah, look, I think you have to be really careful around that. I think the underlying basis of health has to be
100%.
nutrition. Hey,
Yep.
So if you're out there and you've got a chronic illness, I don't care what it is. I have no idea what your conditions are. I'm looking right into a camera now. I don't know who you are watching this, but you can't argue to me, anyone on the planet, if you're not eating as well as you possibly can, I don't care what your condition is, you're doing your body a disservice. Just don't. You can't sell that any other way. Hey,
Nope.
Whatever it is. So we're going to make some general recommendations in this video, but it just makes no sense that if you're not putting the right fuels in on a regular basis to optimize health, there's just no way your body can be responding optimally.
So that's a really cool thing, because that's something, you know, you should really start with your nutrition, have that dialed in, and if something is still not feeling right, if you're still not feeling well, then that's when there's underlying issues that need to be looked at further.
Yep.
So yeah, that's a really cool point.
100%. And then if you want to optimize, so you've spent some time, you've worked with someone, because generally speaking, if 60% of us are overweight or obese, I would say the majority of us don't know what to eat.
Yeah.
Or we're eating whatever it is that we want to without regard to the side effects. And I hope to think that's not the way we're doing it. Maybe that's a conversation for another
video. It definitely is.
What I'd say is, if you want to get started, you're thinking that optimizing your health and nutrition is important, and you're looking at a supplement first, just reverse that and get some help around nutrition. Hey, let's work on getting the best quality foods into you on a regular basis, and then we look to optimize from there.
Yeah, a supplement will not work unless your body is, you know, doing the right things.
Yep.
So, well, unless you're ingesting the fuel that allows your body to, you know, process that well, and then in turn process the supplement properly.
Correct.
Because, you know, if you're eating a diet full of shit, your body's going to be more worried about processing that shit than trying to process a supplement. So it's going to take something that's threatened, that's going to cause threat to it. It's going to deal with that first. That's just its innate survival mechanism.
Yep.
It's going to deal with that first before it even goes near the supplement. So really, if you don't have that part dialed in, you're just paying, your pee is just expensive, really.
Yeah, that's what they say. Hey, that's the I suppose the non-believer in supplements, which is a bit of an odd thing for me, but they say it makes really expensive pee, hey, because you pee out what you don't
which
use.
we'll touch on that more in a bit.
Yep. Yeah. Okay. Cool. All right. So with supplements, I used to do for many years, and we're working on this at the moment. We used to do nutritional seminars, and we're going to bring them back in the coming months.
Yeah.
But the reason that we did that is I used to see clients go from the gym, they'd come and see me, and then they'd go to a supplement store, and the guy in the supplement store, or the girl in the supplement store would like sell $500 worth of shit that was going to turn them into Arnold or make them into a size 6 cover model, and I was like, what the hell? Then I started looking at the cost for supplementation. So supplements aren't cheap. Now, Rylee and I consider them an investment. If you looked at what we spend on supplements each month,
You'd probably fall over.
you probably would fall over. But we've worked it out in a way that we're taking the things that we need to optimize our health, and there's a reason and a strategy behind everything that we take. I think that's really important to bring up because it's super easy, and we see it all the time when people have a pre-workout, an intra-workout, a post-workout, a before bed, a first thing in the morning, a during the day.
A fat burner.
A fat burner, all these things. So they've got like products, like just products on top of products. And it's like, man, do you actually need that? And is the goal overall health? And this is one of the things that we've been talking about, and you're going to see this throughout, I think, the whole series, is that optimal health is the number one goal for us, hey? So supplements tie into that as well.
Yep.
So if we can boost our thermogenic effect, which is what a fat burner is supposed to do, burn more fat, but there's a negative spin-off in that our protein absorption post-exercise is diminished as a result of taking that supplement, which is what happens with lots of supplements. Then
Your adrenals are absolutely shot.
Then there's negative side effects. We have like caffeine overloads, stimulant overloads.
Which I'll paint a little picture. So, if you are dosing up on that sort of stuff before your workout, it might be really good for a little while. And then you'll start to see your body do weird things. Because directly affects the adrenals. Your adrenals are what are responsible for your stress hormone, cortisol. And what does cortisol do? Puts you in survival mode. So therefore you're going to store fat. It's going to give you the opposite effect. You're going to store fat and fluid because your body thinks that you're starving. It doesn't really know what's going on, so it needs to prepare for you to be spending a month in the desert with no food or water. Hold fat and fluid, keeps you wide open, wide awake for a week at a time. So your sleep pattern is really out of whack. Therefore, you're hungry all the time because you're so tired, blah, 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 therefore gives you the opposite effect.
So it does exactly the opposite to what we're trying to do. Hey,
exactly.
Keeps you awake,
Over
keeps
time.
you wide.
So it can be really damaging, and this is the shit that people in supplement stores don't tell you. And, it's just, it's crazy.
100%. And this is the thing that we see on a regular basis, and the investment that's required to get to all of those places is really quite significant. So, it's not cheap to do that. So what we're, I suppose, trying to do is raise your awareness around the actual investment that you're making into your supplements to make sure that those supplements are serving you, they've got a reason, you're taking them with a strategy, and they're working towards an overall picture of improved health. I think that's pretty straightforward, hey? Okay, cool. So with our nutrition, the way we choose to eat and the way we choose to supplement, the goal of overall health is what we're working towards, but we're working on the idea that prevention is easier than a cure. Hey, and this is one of the things that we sort of want to instill in our clients and basically anyone that we're working towards. We're not, I'll say that the goal when I was 18 was to have abs and arms, which I think is everyone's maybe a superficial goal when you're just getting started, or it might be your goal right now watching this is to have arms or have whatever, a lower dress size or whatever it is, and that's completely fine. So your goal is aesthetic, but the goal for us is moved to improved overall well-being and longevity, and that's how we justify the investment in the supplements, I think, and the investment in the best quality food that we can have.
Exactly. And when you do reach that state of balance, I think you do reach your optimal body composition.
It's a side effect, hey, rather than being the...
It's just the bonus of it all.
100%.
So,
So when we're exercising on a regular basis, so Rylee will, she'll even drag me into exercise some days when I don't want to. Hey, like if we're on holidays, we'll exercise still.
Yep.
It's not like we go on holidays flat out. So I've been saying for years and years to the groups that I train, this is an exercise you can do anywhere you take your body. So if you're on holidays, you can use this. People are like, oh, this dickhead, he's talking about exercise on holidays. Because these dickheads exercise on holidays. Hey, and it's the whole idea of it is to continue to work towards that overall sort of well-being. And the idea that we're preventing chronic disease by keeping our bodies moving, by keeping our joint health strong, by continuing to build and maintain muscle mass, continuing to increase our metabolism.
Which, you know, gives you a stronger mental health and blah, 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 blah. The benefits just keep going on and on and on. So, yeah, everything sort of fits together like a puzzle.
Yeah, it all sort of goes hand in hand, hey?
100%.
Yep.
100%. So, yeah, and, you know, when you do have certain goals, whether they're aesthetic or well-being, whatever, sometimes you do need that help to, connect the dots, like we just said, to recover better. So that's something that we'll talk about too, is how amazing they are for recovery, and lots of really cool benefits, but there are lots of things that you do have to be mindful of when purchasing supplements. Am I going off on a tangent? Or
No, that's perfect. I think that's spot on. I think just to recap on what we've said, the underlying, the crucial basis, I think, needs to be the best nutrition that you can possibly afford and possibly get your hands on. I think that needs to form the basis. And I think we need to raise awareness around the idea that even the best quality nutrition that money can buy is still deficient in a number of different areas. And it still doesn't allow us to optimize our health as much as possible, because there's certain things that have to happen to do that. For example, we live in North Queensland. It's 4,000 degrees all the time. And the amount of electrolytes you lose during a training session or a work day just would be, I suppose, too slowly replaced with nutrition only, as opposed to having a supplement drink that contains electrolytes. That's a simple example, hey. So we can speed that process up by taking a supplement.
And
electrolytes, that's right, and
that
replenishing.
That doesn't mean Gatorade or Powerade.
No.
The electrolytes in those are very minimal compared to the sugar content. So we mean like a proper electrolyte powder. So
like a hydrolyte or a gastrolyte or
a Vasica,
something like that. Generally speaking, we never recommend Powerade, Gatorade.
This is the type of stuff that you do have to be mindful of, because you know, without those proper electrolytes, the electrolytes create electricity in our body, essentially. So what's what makes our heart tick? So they are an essential nutrient that we need on the daily in order for us to live. So if our body isn't getting enough, survival mode, there we go again. So it's just simple things like that you have to sort of take into account. The other thing too is that we live a really fast-paced life. I think COVID slowed us down a little bit, but I don't know, but these days, time just seems to fly so quickly, and that's because we're all so busy. We all have a different definition of busy, but we live a really fast-paced, stressful life, and we churn through nutrients when we do that. So
something as simple as the electrolyte example, hey, you will replenish those electrolytes through your nutrition over time. But if you do exactly what you said, so it's like, all right, I worked all day today, sweated all day, then I did a training session. I didn't replace my electrolytes. I didn't have a dinner that supported
what I did.
Correct. Then I wake up again early. I deplete my adrenals by having 15 scoops of coffee in my coffee in the morning, and then I'd repeat the process. Work all day, sweat all day, train in the afternoon. It's like your body's playing catch up the whole time.
Your body breaks down. Yeah, because like first thing in the morning, what about a big drink of water? Dehydrated all night. You have no fluids left in your body.
And then you take in a coffee, which is a diuretic.
Exactly. So it's like a vicious cycle.
So this is what we're talking about, optimization. Do you need to have that electrolyte supplement? maybe you don't. But what we're trying to say is, why would you not want to? Why would you not want to be informed about that, to say, hey, and take it like a bird's eye view look of your life, because that's a hard thing to do for any of us and all of us, is to take it a step back and say, hey, what have I actually done here in terms of my health? Like, did I drink enough water throughout the day? How much did I sweat? How hot was it? Was my food supporting what it was that I was trying to do? And then, do I need some sort of supplementation to help make sure that I stay on track? And keep getting the things that I need. I think those questions are super important, and we don't do it enough.
No, exactly. And this is where education and working with someone is really important, because we're not, like, everyday people, they're not expected, like, you're not expected to know this stuff. It's the education of a profession. So, you know, if you are confused and if you need help,
it's worth talking to someone, because this is your health.
And you know, even if you guys were to come into the gym and say, hey, I just want to know, like, I want to get a lowdown on supplements and I just want to have a chat. In every gym, like, I'm guessing, you know, you'll be able, I hope you'll be able to talk to someone about it and get an informed answer. So,
and hopefully good supplements also.
And we're most, like, if there's some of you out there that are struggling with it and want to really, you know, have a chat and whatever about supplements, just come in and ask us. We're more than happy to chat to you about it. It's really important.
Yeah, it's definitely worth the conversation, I think, for sure. Okay, cool. So that's I think a good place for where we're at, and a bit of a recap. I think what we wanted to do is give you a bit of an idea around some of the supplements that we find really important. Now, this is not a recommendation, because there's no blanket recommendation. If anyone says everyone should take this cluster of supplements, I think you need to be wary of that, because everyone is not the same. People respond differently to different supplements, and people require supplements at a different rate and ratio, and all
at
that
different
sort of
times
jazz.
of your life.
Correct. So
different seasons. Like summer, winter. You know, you're not going to go and guzzle a ton of electrolytes from in winter. I mean, unless you're really dehydrated. But like,
100%. So there's different things, but we wanted to sort of bring up some of the things that we find really important to us, and that perhaps common deficiencies that we're aware of. Some of the things that we're using on a regular basis. And I think I always like to start with the protein supplement, because the vast majority of people that I work with, or that we've worked with, don't consume enough protein. Usually through a convenience factor. Most people, the majority of people, consume protein in their diet, day to day. So let's not talk about plant-based proteins at the moment, or like proteins from foods, so vegetarians or vegans. Generally speaking, most people eat animal meats, animal products that give them some source of protein, but we find that it's not quite regular enough to speed up the metabolism, do all those things needed for
and service the body's protein turnover rate.
Correct.
So your body is churning through protein all the time. It is the building,
replenishes hair, skin, nails, muscle tissue,
which is constant. Even like down to the cell, neurotransmitters. Neurotransmitters are made from proteins. You know, there's proteins all throughout your body. They build the structure of your body: bones, muscle, skin, hair, nails, blood, everything. So it's an essential nutrient that we need on a regular basis throughout the day in order to ensure that our body isn't going to become catabolic. Okay. So your muscles are really abundant in protein, obviously. They're like a little nutrient pill. They're full of nutrients and protein. If your body is running out of things it's running out of building blocks, it will go straight to the muscles and break down muscles, which that's where you get the word catabolic from, in order to service its needs.
100%. So when it comes to protein supplements, the number one question I get is how many protein shakes should I have a day? That is the wrong way to think about it.
Exactly.
My recommendation or advice for that is none. I'd rather you eat small protein meals throughout the day on a regular basis. But if you're at work and you miss morning tea because it's busy and whatever, and life happens and whatever. If you've got a protein supplement there and you actually don't have time to sit down and have a physical meal, you could make a protein supplement, your protein shake for yourself, drink it right there on the spot. It takes no longer than going to do a pee, and you've got something coming in that you can actually use. So we use it as a tool. We always have protein supplement with us wherever we go, all of the time. And we use it just like that. If we can stop and eat, that's what we do. But if you can't, the idea is...
it'll tie you over.
Correct. That's exactly right. So in terms of protein supplements, what do we recommend? We try and steer away from whey-based proteins as a general rule
and
for us
like
personally.
Casein and milk proteins. I mean, some people tolerate them well, but as in general, you know, those sorts of proteins can be quite inflammatory on the digestive system. So
I'd say some people can tolerate them, but I would say most people can't. And they look at the supplement, the symptoms as just what happens. So it's like, oh, I drink, and that's the bodybuilder protein fart thing.
Oh my god!
It's not normal to have the most disgustingly rank smelling farts ever. And
have to go to the toilet like straight after.
On a regular basis.
And not have like a formed stool.
Like. None of that is normal, and it seems to go with protein supplements from the beginning of time. Like when I first started having protein supplements, and I started having those issues, and I started talking to the guys I was training with, they're like, yeah, that's what happens when you have protein. It's like,
I don't think so.
Is that true? The answer is no, that's not true. It doesn't have to be the case. You probably, if you're out there and you have that issue, you know, stinky farts, loose stools, all that sort of nasty stuff that no one wants to talk about.
Fluid retention.
It's probably because of protein supplements not serving you. Probably reacting.
Inflammation.
Correct. So we look at plant-based proteins. We look. Sorry,
and therefore you don't absorb the actual protein molecules well. So you're not actually getting that much protein out of it.
It's not actually serving you the way it's supposed to.
It's going straight through because the body's like, oh, fuck this, I'm gonna get rid of it.
Don't know how to deal with it. 100%. So we look at plant-based proteins. We like collagen proteins,
which isn't plant-based. That's collagen proteins is from either bovine or you can also get marine collagens as well. The bovine collagen is much more. I like it better, just in terms of its structure. For instance, the ATP Science No Way. I've never seen a protein like it. It's fantastic, and its molecular build is literally identical to the protein that is inside of us. So when we ingest it, there's no digestion. It's literally bang, straight into the cells, and away you go. So your gut, like there's no inflammatory issues happening. The gut's, it's straight in, and it's really therapeutic for the gut. Collagen, like, is what builds our gut wall and gut lining, so it services all the gut lining, ensure that's all intact, because our gut is like this, it's very permeable. And when we do have inflammation, that permeability can really open up and let molecules through into the bloodstream, and that's when we see our health inflammatory disease. So to have a protein that does so many things all in one, like really services the body on a cellular level, as well as helping with recovery and all of that. It's really special, and something that's really family friendly too. I really love that. If you know, if I think that's really important. You know, I wouldn't be going and like feeding my kids protein supplement like all the time. Their diet should be food. But you know, it's they can see mum's having a protein shake or dad's having a protein shake, and like for them to be able to drink it, I think that's a really cool thing. You know, that's a really wholesome supplement. So
I think it's important when you're talking about wholesome protein supplements, we're not talking about a post-training shake.
No.
We're not talking about a pre-training shake. We're not talking about a before bed shake.
A bulking shake.
A bulking, a shredding, all that shit that they talk about.
That's the thing. If you can see something on a protein supplement that says this will shred you, or this will burn fat, or this will do this, or this will do that, watch it. Have a look at the ingredients, take a picture, go talk to your PT. Hopefully they have a really holistic mindset. go talk to your naturopath or practitioner.
Yep.
If there's ingredients on there that you can't pronounce, you need to clear them up.
What it is. If you're out there and you're taking a bulking supplement, generally speaking, bulking means sugar.
Yeah.
So that's the cheapest way to bulk. It'll increase the scale.
And man, oh man, is there some rank man-made sugars that they can put in on the cheap.
Yeah, 100%. So what we're talking about is the cleanest protein supplement that you can get that's predominantly protein-based.
Yeah. Holistic ingredients, no like crazy artificial sweeteners and additives, preservatives, and all of that. We want something that's nice and wholesome. So,
cool.
Again, your body recognizes it.
Mm-hmm.
It digests it because it's it's pure. It's not going to cause that inflammatory response. So, and then whenever that inflammatory response, you get those inflammatory symptoms that some of us don't know that we're having. As soon as you feel that, that means like the absorption is very minimal.
Yep.
So you want something that makes you feel good, energized, you digest well, and absorption is optimal.
Cool.
Yeah.
All right, so protein supplement, we think that's pretty important.
Yeah, so I think collagen's up the top.
Oh, yeah.
Obviously you can get the hydrolyzed collagen powders too. They're like a white powder.
Tasteless.
Tasteless,
usually.
yeah. So, we use pea protein, pea and rice sprouted protein.
Yep.
That's a really nice, it gives like your shake a really thick, creamy flavour.
Mm-hmm.
We have like a chocolate flavoured one. It's sweetened with stevia. It's got a bit of cacao in it. It's really beautiful. And then we'll put the collagen in with it, just to get that bit more out of it. It does have a high protein content, but that collagen, because it is molecularly the same as us, you digest it really quickly, you get that in straight away. So, it
cool.
just adds that little boost.
Awesome. So
that hydrolyzed collagen is also really cool. If you do struggle with protein intake, you can have it in your water bottle because it's tasteless.
Yep.
My mum, she struggles a little bit with protein intake throughout the day. So she'll put a scoop in her water bottle in the morning, and her first 1 litre that she goes through will have a scoop of collagen in it. So she'll get that down, and she knows that she's met requirements then. Like she'll be able to sort of have a protein-based meal for lunch and blah, blah, blah. She's got all her protein needs in, so
cool.
Easy.
Easy segue into joint support, because I think collagen does support the joints, so that's a good one.
Collagen, gelatin.
Yep. So a joint support supplement is something that we find that's important, and we place reasonably high regard to. I think something like cod liver we've been using a bit lately. Hey.
Cod liver oil is fantastic. It's so anti-inflammatory.
Yep.
And also really amazing for all your neurotransmitters. But the anti-inflammatory effects are amazing, and also synthesizing vitamin D.
Cool. That's a good one.
So that's a really good one. If you don't have access to cod liver oil, krill oil, a really high quality fish oil.
Yep, it's worth looking into those. You have to do a bit of homework. Hey, not all krill oil is the same.
You'll see it with the price.
Yeah.
If you're getting a big tub of fish oil this big for $15, then it's
maybe
probably
it's not the best it could be.
Full of mercury.
100%. You do. It's worth looking into supplements, to find.
And they'll tell you how how the fish are farmed and all of that sort of stuff. So a really good high quality fish oil. The farming will be sustainable. There's no added heavy metals.
Yep.
That's one thing you have to watch with fish oil supplements.
Yep.
So that's
worth checking out.
Yeah, super important.
For those of you out there that are watching that are vegan, the arm oil that we use from ATP. Now, ATP, like obviously we're not sponsored by ATP at all. If you want to jump over and check out the ATP podcast, we listen to those guys a lot. We use their supplements personally, and we really like what they're doing. So that's what we stock in the gym. So
so you'll hear us refer to that all the time because we're very familiar with it, and it is probably the highest quality Australian supplement that I've seen.
Yeah, I reckon that's probably fair. So the arm oil is vegan friendly, omega based.
It is a plant-based oil. So it has the biggest thing with oils is that our body has like a cascade of how it converts oils. You know, you've got your omega, all your different omega numbers, so it converts them down in like a cascade. What's really clever about the aurum oil, and I actually love it more than cod liver oil, which is a big thing for me to say, is that it services every single cascade, and allows your body to, you know, sometimes if we're putting in fish oil and stuff, we're only getting a part of that cascade, whereas aurum oil has the whole lot. So it allows your body to really hone in on that conversion and correct any issues on that cascade of converting your oils down to where they need to go into the right places. And aurum oil is very clever with that. So it is a plant-based oil, but it's amazing. I love it. So if you're interested in that, let us know, because we can tell you more about it.
Worth checking out.
It's fantastic. Sure. You can even put it on your skin. It's amazing. I love
it.
Cool.
Okay, so protein powder, joint support is something that we think that holds some weight.
Yep.
Magnesium.
Everyone is deficient in magnesium. Don't care what you say.
Okay, cool. So what do we need to look for magnesium? Or what do we need to avoid for magnesium?
Yeah, so
as general rules.
Yeah, there's a heap of shit out there.
Yep.
So magnesium citrate is your go-to. Yeah, okay, so cool. It's very bioavailable to the body, so you absorb it really well. We just absorb it better in the cell. You know, it doesn't get lost in the body. It's not a foreign form of magnesium, so it's very, very easy to absorb.
Excess is, so if you take a large dose of magnesium citrate, does it cause diarrhea?
Yeah.
Yeah, cool. So that's why you need to seek advice around these things. Don't just 100%. Go prescribing things to yourself, so you don't want to take 10 tons of magnesium and get stuck on the loo.
So if you have too much, it is going to promote water coming into the bowel to get rid of it. And that's when you get diarrhea. So I've heard Matt talk about it on ATP Science a little bit. He said, you know, to find your optimal place, you can keep adding that one tablet every day until you get to that point of getting the run sort of, and then take it back. And then that means you're at your optimal spot. And then maybe a little bit down the track, you might find yourself getting that sort of diarrhea-ish feeling again. You can take it back again, and that's your body correcting itself and correcting the deficiency.
Cool.
So, but
work with someone on that.
I would work with someone on that, because
100%.
that's really important. You don't really want to have the runs, and with magnesium citrate, it is a really safe magnesium. So it's not going, if you do have it in high amounts, it's not going to be toxic to the body. It will give you the runs, but it's not going to be toxic. Your body will get rid of it. And it's hard to reach that total threshold.
As a general rule.
Yeah, so it's good. Like most magnesium citrate supplements are dosed. Like you'll be able to read it on the back, and it'll give you a general dosage, and that's pretty much fine. So your body, like over time, your body will be fine on that. So it's
cool. All right.
Sulfate and oxides are like forms of magnesium, even zinc as well. Your body just doesn't like it, just doesn't absorb it.
Okay, cool. Where do you want to go to next?
B vitamins, I think, are really important. And multivitamins, I think we get really caught up in the hype of multivitamins and that we should be on a multivitamin. I'm all for a multivitamin, but most like store-bought multivitamins that are on the shelf are synthetic.
Yep. So when we're talking about vitamins, you need to just raise your awareness around them. Hey, so a B vitamin's great, a multivitamin's great. You need to work with someone that knows what they're talking about and can recommend these things specific to you. And then you need to educate yourself somewhat to make sure that you're not buying a synthetic multi or a synthetic B vitamin or a synthetic whatever.
I think once you hit this stage, I think you really need to be working with a practitioner on this, because you know, for instance, 40% of us are born with a genetic mutation called MTHFR. So that really hones in on B vitamins. Methylation, so that's a methylation issue. If we're not methylating well, then we don't absorb our B vitamins well. And that's a genetic mutation that not everyone is obviously aware of. So you need to actually have genetic testing to work that out. So, you know, you could be literally having your B vitamins, they're the ones that make your pee really yellow-orange. If you're peeing really yellow-orange, you're not absorbing them. They're literally going straight through you, so your body's not actually picking them up. So that could be something worth exploring. Like as I said, once you get to that point, I would be working with someone so you can really determine what the best forms of vitamins and supplements will suit you and allow you to reach that really optimal level of health. So,
cool. Awesome. Vitamin D from the sun. Australians apparently don't get enough vitamin D.
Yeah, I agree.
Hey?
Look how white I am.
Yeah, we both are.
It's disgusting.
It's a bit dramatic, but very white. Not in the sun enough. So, vitamin D. What should we avoid? What should we use?
Vitamin D3.
Okay.
So
cool.
that's
not D2.
No, D2 is man-made.
So it's a synthetic.
Yeah, it's a synthetic vitamin D. We don't absorb it. Well, I don't think we absorb it really at all. So the best vitamin D is from the sun and supplemented vitamin D3. That's another deficiency that is just so common. If you were to get a blood test, like the norms are just really weird on blood tests. So you might come in the normal range, but you're actually extremely low. So working with like a naturopath on that is really, I think, important because vitamin D is so incredibly important for so many reasons. You know, mental health, you know, function day to day. We're very dependent on vitamin D. So
apparently, the numbers coming out of America regarding COVID at the moment is like hugely. Like the population of people that have got coronavirus in America are super low in D vitamin. It seems to be like
it's a huge immune factor, a huge immune factor. And the way that viruses and stuff act in the body, if you're vitamin D deficient, you'll have some deadly stuff going on. So immune factor, brain, it's abundant everywhere. So
Rhonda Patrick spoke about that on the Rogan podcast and spoke more of D vitamin, more about D vitamin as a hormone rather than a vitamin.
Yep, it acts as a hormone in the body.
Yeah, so that's pretty interesting to check out. Dr. Rhonda Patrick's someone we both like and watch a fair bit. I can't remember the name of her podcast.
I think it's Dr. Rhonda Patrick, isn't it?
No, she's got this like Find My Fitness or
is it?
Something.
I don't think so.
Something, I'm telling you. Anyway, check out Dr. Rhonda Patrick. She's worth checking out.
Yeah.
Cool. The last one that we wanted to talk about is some sort of gut health supplement. Now,
Found My Fitness.
Apologise.
Sorry.
Okay. Very good. Cool. Gut health. So, a gut health supplement is very important, we think. But to say take a gut health supplement is just 450,000 milligrams.
I'd actually put this up the top. Like it's just
important.
It's such an important. The way your gut acts is the way you are.
But the way you identify what it is that you need to work with someone, hey?
Oh, yeah.
It's not like you can just go out and say, take a probiotic, take a prebiotic, take a modbiotic.
A modbiotic is probably the safest option because a modbiotic will modify your gut bugs and correct them back to where is a healthy ratio. So your gut bugs pretty much dictate your health, so to speak.
Yep. Just about everything, man. The more they do on gut health, hey, it's like, gut health causes fucking everything.
We will never know the full story about the gut, not in our lifetime. Like it will go on forever.
Yep.
It's like the brain. The gut and the brain are so extensive and so complex. And we have thousands, millions of different types of bacteria in the gut. There are some deadly ones, so a lot of us do have bacterial imbalances in the gut that then cause a lot of health issues. So working with someone to identify those bacterial imbalances is really important because if you've just got like your standard probiotic, and you've got a really yucky bacterial imbalance that you're unaware of, you'll be putting that probiotic in, feeding good bacteria, but also feeding bad bacteria as well. The good bacteria do kill off bad bacteria to an extent, but if you've got a probiotic strand that's going in and feeding both, then you're not really getting anywhere. So a modbiotic is more like the ATP Science Gut Right. It's got like all your polyphenols and all the nutrients that we just don't get out of food anymore, like all the good stuff like out of skins of fruits and veggies and
stuff we avoid because it tastes like shit.
It tastes like shit. Really bitter herbs and polyphenols and all that really good stuff. Those are the things that really correct gut issues. So they will actually kill off bad bacteria and feed good bacteria. So things like ATP Science Gut Right, I think we have that on a daily basis. Sometimes we'll do like a Gut Right, like 2-week Gut Right intensive, where we have it like 2 to 3 times a day and really cleanse out the gut. And then we just have it once a day, hey, as a maintenance. And it's fantastic. So a lot of my clients, if they come to me and, you know, they've been taking soy and a yucky processed whey protein for a while and wondering why they're feeling like shit, and, you know, they thought going to the toilet for 6 times a day or 7 times a day was normal, and stools be not formed and bloated every time they eat and blah 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 blah, the list goes on. I'll put them on Gut Right and No Whey, and the results that we get are really quite significant because the gut microbiome is correcting, as well as you've got the No Whey in there too, helping everything structurally. So yeah.
Awesome. Okay, cool. So how can we wrap this up? Give, I suppose, some takeaways. I think the number one, maybe this has been the takeaway that we've had every week. Your nutrition needs to be the basis of everything that you do. Okay? So you need to work towards optimizing your nutrition before you do anything. That's your prevention to rather than a cure. That's your smallest possible investment. Starts with improving your nutrition, and that will help in all other areas: physical health, mental health, spiritual health, all those things. If you're optimizing what it is that you're consuming, you're going to put your best foot forward, I suppose. Cool. The basis and the majority of what it is that we do with our consumption comes from food. So even something as similar
a supplement is a supplement to the diet.
100%.
Like, sorry, that's worded wrong. It's a supplement. It's called a supplement for a reason.
Yeah, it's not the primary. It's a supplement to a good quality diet.
Exactly.
And we can get more through our foods than we can from supplements anyway. You think of something like turmeric, people would take in a capsule, and I add more probably turmeric to my eggs in the morning than what you'd get from a turmeric tablet.
Yeah, or
anyway.
in a curry.
Correct, or in a curry.
You put like a couple of teaspoons of turmeric or a really nice curry powder in it. It's got loads of turmeric in it. So
100%. So that's
and fresh turmeric. Like fresh turmeric, if you've got it, that's even more abundant in curcumin or whatever the substance is.
Curcumin is active ingredient or whatever it is. So nutrition is the number one, and I suppose.
Sorry.
I was just going to say the final note is that supplements are designed to optimize, and that's the way we should be using them, is to get the best possible result to optimize our health, and the goal obviously being to be as healthy as we possibly can.
Feel really good.
Correct.
Feel really, really good. You know, energy stable, blood sugar levels stable throughout the day, hormones nice and sound. Like, it's just, you want to feel really well. And always remember that your supplements aren't going to work as well if your diet isn't on point.
100%.
So, not on point, but a really healthy, balanced, sustainable, nutrient-rich diet, your supplements will not work without it. So,
100%.
It's something that's really important.
Cool. To wrap up, find someone that can help you with this. You need to speak to someone that's a professional in this area. They can help guide you, recommend a sustainable plan for you that's going to be specific to you. It's worth the investment because your health is all you have.
That's it. It is all you have. And it could, like, you know, something that you're currently experiencing Could be just a simple nutrient deficiency that just needs to be corrected.
Yep.
And you'll see like a huge difference if you can identify it and get a supplement for that particular thing, correct it, you'll be on your way. So yeah, super important.
Awesome, that's it.
Yep.
Cool, hope you can take something from that, guys. That's it,
Yeah,
done.
Done.
Go forth, be healthy, eat good stuff, and we'll see you
See you next week.
Yeah, see you next week. Bye, guys.
Bye.